Well, manufacturers all over the world take advantage of the low cost of making clothes in Bangladesh. One of them is Joe Fresh, a Loblaws affiliate here in Canada. The company says it takes its responsibilities for people's safety seriously, and it's promising action. In a statement released yesterday, the company says on Monday, Loblaws is joining other retailers and the Retail Council of Canada in an urgent meeting of its Responsible Trade Committee. Loblaws is committed to finding solutions by expanding the scope of our requirements to ensure the physical safety of workers producing our products. Well, the horrific incident has brought outsourcing and workers' rights in the developing world to the forefront. Many people are now looking in their closets and asking themselves, where do their clothes come from? Well, for more on the chain of production, we're joined by Cheryl Hotchkiss. She's the manager of World Vision Canada's End Child Slavery campaign. Cheryl, thanks for being with us. Many companies use factories in countries like India and Bangladesh. How much do we know about how their products are made?
Unfortunately, we don't know very much about how their products are made. That information isn't easily available to the average Canadian. And I think that based on some polling that World Vision did last year, it's very clear that Canadians would like to have access to that kind of information so they can make more informed choices.
And I understand it is more accessible in other countries, in Australia, in the EU. Why has Canada lagged behind?
It's really not clear to me why Canada has lagged behind. Certainly the resources that are available online, like thegoodguide.com and ethicalconsumer.org, are very rich sites with lots of information about products available, both in Australia and Europe as well as internationally. Unfortunately, Canada doesn't seem to have that same resource, and I think we're seeing that Canadians would really use that kind of thing if it was available to them.
Cheryl, how much responsibility does a company have to ensure safe working conditions?
Well, companies have a lot of responsibility to ensure safe working conditions. Companies often have codes of conduct or other types of documents that lay out how they're going to treat their workers. And that extends to workers all the way through their supply chain. And certainly we are concerned both with this situation, but also part of our End Child Slavery campaign deals with child labor. And what we don't know is, with regard to the cotton that's used to make the t-shirts, are there children involved in that? 60% of children involved in the worst forms of child labor are working in agriculture. So we also need them to investigate all the way down from the final product to the very raw materials.
Yeah, that raises a lot of other issues. Cheryl, can consumers in Canada actually trace where their clothes come from if they try really hard?
It's possible that they might be able to. However, there's really no one-stop shop for this kind of information. And I think we really encourage Canadians to start asking questions of the companies that they shop with and the manufacturers they buy from. They can ask. Many companies have Facebook pages, websites where you can ask questions. I think Canadians need to start doing that more so they can get that kind of information, but it certainly isn't readily available to them.
Cheryl, we were talking about how the Europeans have a bit more access than Canadians do, but I understand that there are more stringent guidelines when it comes to foreign worker safety, and yet some European companies, I understand Mango, had clothing being made in that building. So how does that happen?
Well, I think it goes back to this question about transparent supply chains and companies rigorously investigating and investing in looking at their supply chains on a regular basis. It's not something you do every once in a while. It's something you need to do regularly because suppliers change, subcontractors change. You need to be continually looking at your supply chain to make sure it's adhering to your codes of conduct.
It sounds like a fairly complicated process. I understand Loblaws is now sending representatives to Bangladesh. Do you think it's a step in the right direction?
Oh, absolutely. It's very good to hear that they're doing that and that companies in Canada are getting together to discuss what more they can do. We really hope that that will lead to some lasting changes, but we do believe that there needs to be ongoing commitment every year to looking at supply chains to make sure there's not this kind of thing going on.
Cheryl, I'm running out of time, but just quickly, do you think, I mean, there have been other disasters in Bangladesh, people have died. Do you think this one is going to make a difference?
Well, I'm certainly pleased to see the amount of attention it's getting and the amount of interest that Canadians are showing via social media. And I think that there are a number of organizations out there that are acting in a role to help make sure this doesn't happen again. And I do think that this may be an opportunity where we'll see something really change. But I think we need to keep paying attention to this every day when we shop, thinking about where is this stuff coming from? And if you don't know, ask.
Cheryl Hotchkiss, you are doing important work. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us.
Thank you for your interest.
Cheryl Hotchkiss is the manager of World Vision Canada's End Child Slavery campaign.